Our first item on the agenda is open forum. That special town meeting is Saturday, October 16 at 1 p.m. at the field of the Westford Academy. The Board of Health at its last meeting issued a directive, and as of Friday, October 1st, masks will be required in all public indoor places. Finally, congratulations to our very own town clerk, Patty Doobie. Patty recently qualified for the Massachusetts Town Clerks Association's Certified Massachusetts Municipal Clerk designation.
And I'd like an explanation of why they're not enforcing the APR. And how I mean it is, why isn't this man who owns the property developing agricultural use of it, which is a requirement of the APR? Is there a reason? Am I not seeing something? I'd appreciate some sort of an explanation or a response.
Moving on to our next item, which is a request for a change of a corporate officer LLC manager for an all-alcohol restaurant license for the 99 Restaurant of Boston LLC.
Everything is in order. This is basically a rubber stamp.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. We are at our consent agenda. We have a request to approve the following. A banner for the Boy Scout Troop 159 annual winter sporting goods sale. The Westford Firefighters Tour, Westford with Santa. A request to use the town common and bandstand for the annual tree lighting ceremony. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Our next item is an overview and initiatives of the Westford Police Department.
All right, so currently the Westford Police Department is budgeted for 49 full-time officers. We are staffed right now with only 46. One of the important things that we saw was correcting deficiencies. So if we're aware of a policy or procedure that we may need to improve upon, there is a body of standards that we can pull from to make sure that we get up to date and we make sure that we're on top of that. Because of the new laws that went into effect, we did have to change our use of force, which I know we had put on our website over last summer, but we did have to change some definitions and eliminate all chokeholds and putting a little bit more of an emphasis on de-escalation. Internal Affairs has also changed. Like I said, if we receive complaints, they're reported to the state body as well now. Changes in the way mental health crisis is addressed. Our canine services, can't use them for crowd control, additional training in identification and prevention of bias, interactions with transgender individuals, and search warrant affidavits, which included the no-knock warrants, the restriction on those. Prioritize de-escalation training. We provided some photos from the Middlesex Sheriff's Office trailer that came out, I believe it was in April, and provided a shoot, no shoot type training scenario where the response of the video training is based upon how the officer interacts. So it opened our eyes to a few deficiencies with some officers that we were able to address. We're doing a pretty good job with training and maybe illuminated some places that we might be able to make a little bit of improvement.
I have noticed the social media presence, and I feel like that's a really great way for just the community to passively understand more about what you're doing. So I just wanted to applaud you for the extra effort that you're putting into that.
You know, I think probably all of us, the most common complaint, if you will, in town is speeding. So, without giving away any trade secrets, could you explain, how we do the traffic?
When we receive the complaints, we try to increase our presence to see if we can affect this kind of the short term. If it's more of a heavily traveled road, we will get the speed boards out, or if we receive multiple complaints from multiple residents.
When you've had an opportunity to implement some of these initiatives, we'll have you back. A request for authorization to submit 75% design on the Boston Road Rehabilitation Project and an update on the Beaver Brook Bridge Project.
First off, Boston Road, the design includes some minor revisions to the plans, such as improvements to the intersection of Boston Road and Main Street, additional stormwater best management practices, and we extended the sidewalk on the west side of Boston Road from Blake's Hill Road to the fire station driveway.
The general scope of the improvements include complete streets improvements to incorporate new bicycle lanes along Boston Road between Main Street and the 495 interchange. We'll maintain 2 through lanes of traffic, one in each direction throughout that stretch. The lanes will be formalized to a consistent width, whereas today they vary a fair amount. And we'll be installing a new sidewalk, reconstructing the sidewalk where it exists today, but also extending that sidewalk from Main Street all the way down to the 495 interchange. So at Main Street and Boston Road, some of the concerns were related to visibility to pedestrians and some of the speed of turning traffic there. So one of the key changes that we made was the crosswalk across Boston Road at Main Street has been shifted closer to Main Street so that pedestrians crossing there are more visible to vehicles, particularly those that are turning right or left from Main Street onto Boston Road.
I can't say emphatically enough that controlling the speed on the road is paramount. If that is not addressed in this, then I can't see how this is anything but irresponsible. This is an extraordinarily dense community. I mean, it is still a neighborhood. Everyone races by like it's 495, but we live here. I've been here for 25 years. I mean, I'm almost been killed shoveling my mailbox. Is there a way that we can limit the lane size, bring it down to 10 feet? I really think it's got to be addressed with some structural thing, change the lane size. Is there a way to make the medians more narrow? I don't think the medians were the whole length of the road.
My school bus driver, I think her second nature is to lean on the horn because people come around by Crown Road going 50 miles an hour and they can't stop for her. I almost got hit 3 times this week pulling out. We know that widening roads really makes them faster. If we can't make it better, we shouldn't be making it worse.
Everybody on this road, we've been hit coming out of our driveway. And you can't get out of the driveway. This doesn't improve any of that situation for the western side of the road. Can we combine into where the bikes and the sidewalk are shared, and maybe it's a little bit bigger design and it allows for some landscaping? We need to rethink this.
We've had 2 fatalities right in front of our house within the past roughly 10 years. So to know that we could straighten this but manage the speed would make it safer. I appreciate the additional visibility. I very much appreciate having sidewalks and bike paths that would allow us non-motorized transport, allowing both sides to be sidewalked. I imagine the cost is higher potentially, but at the end of the day, it would solve a lot of problems.
So that shared pathway that Bob Jeffries and Juliet Mount had mentioned as being supported, would that kind of fall under the same types of design and time constraints as changing and adding a median?
I would say that's a top to bottom redesign. I would anticipate, Jonathan, you'd have to start from the beginning if we were going to do the shared path.
If we're either going to potentially ask Stephen, Paul, and Jonathan to go back and do a major reconsideration, or conceivably decide that this proposal is what's best for Westford, more discussion might be needed.
We will schedule a separate meeting to discuss this only, and we can really come to a decision as to whether we're going to move forward with the project or not.
The Beaverbrook project is currently scheduled for advertisement in June of 2022, with construction likely to begin in April of 2023. We're still on schedule, like I said, for construction in April of 23, pending the approval of that special legislation.
The Select Board and the Finance Committee are taking positions on warrant articles 1 and 8, and then the Select Board is to take positions on the remaining warrant articles.
Can somebody from FinCom want to make a motion for Article 1?
So moved.
Second. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion from the Select Board?
So move. Recommend.
Second.
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, can we go to Article 8?
This will be dismissed.
So no vote needed?
Well, you can recommend dismissal. So moved.
Second.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to recommend dismissing from the Select Board?
So moved.
Second. Aye.
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 Aye. Article 2, which is to approve fiscal year 2022 capital appropriations. Is there a motion to recommend?
So moved. Second. Aye.
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 Aye. Article 3, which is to amend the general bylaws to establish a revolving fund for the electric vehicle charging stations. Okay, is there a motion to recommend?
So moved. Aye.
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 Aye. Article 4, which is to establish the fiscal year 2022 spending limits for the electric vehicle charging station and recycling revolving funds.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
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 Aye. Article 5, to establish a health insurance trust fund and transfer the balance in the health insurance stabilization fund to the health insurance trust fund.
Motion to recommend.
Second.
Aye.
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 Aye. Article 6, to approve funding for an energy savings performance audit.
So moved.
Second.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Article 7 is to authorize burn place extension improvements or betterments.
So moved. Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Article 9, which is to restrict motorboats on Keys Pond.
So moved.
Second.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jody, you're up. Town Manager's Report.
I took the budget policy direction to the Finance Committee, and they helped us amend it a bit. And Eric, if you could pull it up, I just want to make sure the board's in agreement or make further changes.
Is there a motion to approve the budget policy direction for fiscal year 2023?
So moved.
Second, aye.
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 Aye. All right, we are adjourned. Good night, Westford, and thank you, everybody.